people, I'm the Blue Dragon, welcoming you to this week's video. This is June's Q&A. Do you believe in magic? I can't sing, I'm not even gonna try, but here's the Lovin' Spoonful. I love the Lovin' Spoonful, I don't love them, I like a lot of their songs. Yeah, this week I'm working on Act 3, page 1. It's a speed paint. I like to start acts out with some color, and I like to end it with some color, so here's some color for y'all. Anyway, before I get into the question and answer, I have some shopkeep to do first. Thanks to my new subscribers, and for the people who have been sticking around, I super appreciate that. I've been making slow progress subtitling my backlog of videos, but I am getting to them. I do about 2 to 3 a week, counting that week's video. And then announcement, a little bit of shameless self-advertisement. Dark Horse Act 1 has gone to the printers! Oh, I'm working with a local printer. I like to support local. That's something that I strongly believe in, is think globally, act locally. And those are going to be available, they're already available digitally for $3. I think it's just wrong to charge a ton of money for something digitally created. And then the hard copy version, just to make sure that I cover costs and make a tiny bit of a profit, those are $7.50 plus shipping and handling. So if you are interested in buying a copy of Dark Horse Act 1, this doesn't mean Act 1 is coming down from the website. The only reason why I have this stuff available is to sell at cons and for people who want to support me, support the comic, support the channel, whatever. So that's why I have those available. And if you're interested, you can email me here at cerulean.graphics@gmail.com. That'll be in the description. And also, I have my comic linked. This whole thing, the question and answer, is Dark Horse related for anyone new to the channel. Most of the things I talk about is regarding my comic, although I do kind of branch out and I talk about random stuff. All those links are down in the description. Yeah, if you're interested, I take PayPal and I don't take checks. Because my bank, I live in Missouri right now, we're trying to move, but my bank is still in Springfield, Illinois, because I like my credit union, and when I like something, I stick with it no matter where I go, which really just hassles me, but I do a lot of stuff online, but I don't take checks for that reason. And people don't really use checks anymore anyway. I'm old. I'm an old soul. Anyway, and then the fourth thing is I'm trying to get my crap together to start going to conventions. I will keep you all updated on those plans as they materialize, so keep an eye out for that. Okay, great, let's get to some questions. I had tons of questions about magic and the magic system, which is why that's the theme of this month's Q&A. But all of this information, there is a word of Wednesday caveat to all of this information that I'm giving you today, and that is this information is not necessarily known by people in the magic world. It's not necessarily known by anyone. So this is just kind of background stuff for you guys, you know, fourth wall stuff, so that you know what's going on. But the people in the story, I'm sure there are people who know. There are scholars in the world of the Fae, both Fae folk and the few humans who decided to stay on that side of the veil. There are a few, but there's a lot that's not known about magic, and even I am not going to answer everything about magic. I'm not gonna Star Wars this, I'm not gonna J.K. Rowling this, but I have had some questions, and I was thinking, well, this would be kind of a creative way of doing it, and I had kind of a loose idea of it anyway, and the questions just forced me to flesh some of this stuff out of it. Flesh things out or soul them out. Ooh, hint of what's to come. Okay, the first question that I got was, how does Rena's magic work? In Act 4, way back in Act 4, it is revealed that she, like Shimiko, is a guardian of the Crystal Lotus Matrix. Her power is water-based. So the way I view magic, there's so many kinds. There's magic in everything, but what Ren is specifically channeling is her own magic, which is essentially tied into an individual's soul. So even an untempered soul, which just means it's one that hasn't been using magic, doesn't know how to use magic, the soul itself is energy, and it holds a massive amount of energy or magic. It's learning to harness that energy that a person must do in order to kind of tap into that power. So theoretically, if Ren somehow automatically knew how to use magic, or knew what she was doing, if she was able to somehow know all this stuff, she theoretically could perform a spell using the maximum amount of energy or magic that she contains within herself, her own soul. And that's actually what happened with Kana, who was, she just innately was able to tap into her soul power. She had such an emotional outburst that is how she was able to tap into that and heal the whole world. She didn't necessarily know what she was doing, but she just instinctively was able to do that. Now, if you use all that power, if you use all of it, period, there's a good chance that you could die. But what happens directly after using that massive amount of energy is you pretty much drain your soul of that energy, and it takes some time for it to recharge. So that's kind of how I'm viewing specifically what these guardians of the Crystal Lotus are doing. And as I mentioned earlier, people don't necessarily know how all this magic works. But yeah, they don't necessarily know everything. Some people know more than others. But she's basically tapping into soul power. Here's a link to some good soul music. Yeah, but yeah, for most people, harnessing and learning how to do that, that's how you raise it to new levels. That's how you get more powerful. You can learn how to perform more complex spells. It all, for the most part, takes time unless you have some kind of strong emotional stimulus. Bonus info! Some magics can be mixed. That would be an example of more complex magic because you gotta know how to combine and connect and get the reaction you're specifically looking for. So that would be an example of a more complex type of magic or spell. Okay, question 2. Why would Renshaw summon magic he can't control? And that's a really good question. Renshaw actually didn't realize he wasn't going to be able to control it. What we don't know about Renshaw is that him and the siblings, they don't know how to use magic. That's why we usually see Rowena physically fighting, whereas Rowan, he's kind of the pacifist. He doesn't like fighting. He doesn't necessarily agree with what his siblings are doing. Renshaw, everything that any kind of magic he performs, I mean, he has like a little bit of an idea, but most of the time it's either some kind of scripture or some kind of spell or potion or something that's been lent to him. Well, not potions necessarily, but there are ways for someone who's not using their own soul magic to perform magic. And one way is through black magic. And Keisuma has made a connection with him. She's not possessing him, at least not when you first see him using her magic. And even then, she's more projecting herself onto him because he's got a pretty strong willpower. But he is channeling her magic, which is black magic. And the reason why he can't control it is because he wanted a more powerful form in order to just end the battle with Rina, which is what Keisuma was waiting for because his will is pretty strong. She was able to cast a spell over all of them and, kind of make them these bird people. She could do that curse. But one, she can't stretch herself too thin possessing too many people. But if someone has invited her in, they've made a connection with the demon and she's able to project herself onto him. She's sending the magic through him and he can't control it because he is not emotionally invested and he just does not have enough power. He's overwhelmed by this negative energy. This answer led to another question regarding black magic and how does it work? I can't answer all of it in this video, it's too long, but the basics. Black magic is taboo because it is basically the collection of souls that have been forced from a body. Souls have different charges, so similar to how an atom can be positive, negative, or neutral, magic within the soul. A soul can be positive, negative, or neutral. Now you can have some of those, there's a combination of those charges that can be within a soul and it can change over time. But let's just say forcing a soul from its body will automatically make that soul's energy turn negative, and for some reason, negative energy, too much of it, corrupts. Nobody knows why. It's also taboo because it is extremely cruel it's worse almost than just killing someone, because what you've left behind is the shell of a body. A body can't exist without its soul. The reason why black magic is taboo is because it does amass these negative energies, it's cruel, it's very unnatural, and so the reason why he's unable to control it is because there's this amalgamation of massive amounts of souls and all that negative energy is just too powerful for him to control. And that's all I have time for this month. Wow. Question of the week. What kind of magic systems do you prefer? What do you like to see when you're reading a story that has a lot of magic and fantasy elements? Do you want something that is mapped out and easy to follow, a very well-constructed system? Do you just want it to be magical with absolutely no explanation at all? Put your comments and thoughts down below. Next week, I have time to go ahead and do a video on Pride Month, so I'm going to be doing a discussion of some of the characters that we'll be seeing in Dark Horse eventually, and I'm so excited for, that I really love. And I've had them written for so long, it's like, I gotta get to them. I'm like, ah! But anyway, wow, that was really intense and crazy sounding, because I am crazy. But thank you guys, that's what we're looking forward to next week. Thank you for listening. Do the bell thing. Peace and love. Fare you well, and keep on trucking.